Bresnik from Light Reading. I'm here with Koji Okamoto from Viavi, and we're going to be talking about what some of the latest things that are happening in the cable upstream. So, Koji, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you, Alan. Nice to see you. Unfortunately, not seeing that show or anything, but it's good to see your face.
Right. It's at least good to see us on video. Thanks. Koji, we're hearing a lot about bandwidth demand, particularly in upstream, taking off during the pandemic. What are you hearing from customers, from your operators, and how they're keeping up with upstream capacity demands from an architectural standpoint?
Yeah, I think the big thing, as the operator already said before in the many forums, is the because of the people staying at home and even schools, remote learning and so on, the capacity of the upstream especially is increasing quite a bit, and we've seen several methods that operators dealing with this challenge, and several options based upon your architecture. You can pick different types, but in the summary, I was seeing people turning on OFDMA if your modem is already 3.1 capable. So that's a good way to gain the more capacity as well as the bits per hertz, which is more efficient. Some operator even talking about increasing the frequency band in the US, for example, from 42 to even go to 204, not just to 85, but to 204. So that's kind of mid-split. I've seen people adding more carriers in the, let's say, lower frequency part of the band because they just don't have the time to wait for those frequency changes or 3.1 modem to be all rolled out. So that's happening. And also even seeing more node splits, faster node splits, kind of traditional method. And in the end, more DAA rollout, faster rollout happening at the same time. And some selective spots that especially international market, I've seen also more FTTH rollout, faster pace to accommodate these kind of demand increase in the upstream.
Okay, thanks. What other technology adoptions or architectural evolutions are you seeing out there?
I would say the big one, especially on the fiber front in the access part of the network, is big. On top of the traditional 3.1 or the coax technology, I'll say the biggest impact is mostly on the access related to DWDM network. I think now it's becoming more fundamental part of the DAA and the remote PHY architecture, and in a critical piece of way, they get more fiber. It's equivalent of having more fiber links to the into the remote hardware. It could be remote PHY DAA as well. Some people may look at that as for the future 5G extension. So I'll say that's probably the biggest impact, and also seeing some more high fiber counts going into the nodes, and also more rollout. Again, we discussed an FTTH for EPON and GPON rollout in this space. And then also transitioning from 1 gig to 10 gig is another big one. So I see that from traditional EPON, GPON to XGS-PON or 10 gig EPON. But I see actually probably more XGS-PON, even in the cable space, mostly because optics, I think, is a little bit cost effective because more customers rolling it out. And I'm sure you're hearing about the more DOCSIS 4.0 discussions to increase the capacity there.
Right. So lots of different options out there.
Yeah, and this also translates to new need for processes and the tools to enable them to roll this out. So there's some implication for that.
Okay. So service providers have had to show unprecedented agility as new operational restrictions have been placed upon them. What kind of while demand for services has skyrocketed, how have they adjusted their tools and processes to continue to build infrastructure and expand their access networks?
Yeah, I'll say the biggest impact is the focus on more in the changing the process related to remote testing, especially in this kind of pandemic and challenges.
Right.
So if you don't have to send somebody to the home or so on, I'm sure you're sensitive about that too, just like everybody else. And more disciplined way of deciding whether or not you dispatch somebody or not and what location and so on is, I think, it's becoming more of a hot topic. Even once you dispatch to the home, like, do we really need to enter the home or could it be outside? So that's another important aspect that customers looking at. And once they determine they really have to go into the home, then making sure you can really troubleshoot quickly And when you're visiting, make sure it gets done right the first time. That's becoming even more critical. I used to have a friend that, even operator calling this kind of visit to the home invitation only visit. So
Right.
you just can't go there. And now it's even more the case, more sensitive. So I'll say that's kind of the big focus for the operators, and they need to adapt the process to be able to do that.
Today's new higher bandwidth technologies require network densification, such as high fiber cables out to 5G cells or high density nodes and PON circuits. So, what's the best way for MSOs to handle the increased test complexity to keep up with demand and network maintenance?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a real challenge. I think the most important thing is having as much automation with some type of visibility to the management team in your process, so that you can really enable through the MSO and the contractor ecosystem to have a very consistent, repeatable process across a very wide range of technicians and number of people too as well. And we really focus on the two different methods to do this. One is we call the centralized test system, and this could be applicable for customers who have a low penetration in the homes passed, so you got a lot of build going, or the customers who really want to have a more a control in your testing, and the test records and so on centrally. And the way it happens is that now you put all the test system in the head end or hub sites, and you go out, and the technician will carry basically the mobile type of device and be able to look at shoot the OTDR remotely, and all the test record is automated and have the data records in the back. And one of the good benefit of this, and you get the ROI through the entire network life cycle. So build, activation, maintenance, and monitoring. So whole life cycle. So earlier you start with this, more, let's say, the return on investment you get. Another method still is more the traditional method, which is, hey, technicians or contractors going out in the field with the OTDR type of test tools to test these densification, the more fiber. But the tough part is you got so many people doing this kind of jobs. How do you kind of automate this? So important part of this method is the test automation through instruments, and take advantage of the connectivity with the mobile device, and have all the test data into the cloud with more analytics and the dashboard, so the management team can really understand where the problems are, the top problems are, and who is making the good practices, making good measurements and consistent performance and so on. And that type of step-by-step procedure to the technician really enable the repeatability and so on. So those are the two kind of, I'll say, the trend that's happening around the industry to really tackle this real challenge that we face today.
Okay. Well, Koji, I really appreciate your time, and I just hope we get to meet again in person soon again.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully see you soon, Alan.
All right. You take care.
Yeah. Bye-bye.